What is happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. It's match reaction time. Leeds United 0, Burnley 1. Very, very disappointing. There's a lot to go through with this game, people. We're going to be here, I think, for a little bit. So, hang on, get your thoughts in the comments. Got a lot to talk about in this one. Oh, man, yeah, Lewis, it's not looking good, bruv. It was poor today. I mean, the thing is poor, but there's so much that encompasses that word poor, and we're going to get into the details of that. Look, people, hit the likes, subscribe to the channel, drop your comments below. Big up to all the supporters, big up to all the haters. I need you both, so it's all good. Salutations to all. Hope you're feeling good, smelling good, and we're going to get into this. We're going to get into this. The thing is, agent, that Trafford is a proper keeper. We're going to have to speak about it, but you know what? We'll get into it in just a moment. We'll get into it in just a moment. Listen, I've been getting a lot of support lately in terms of super thanks, so I've got to shout these people out. Parent House, as always, big up to you, always supporting. Arinda, Matthew Carroll, Mr. P with multiple. Thank you, Mr. P, Malcolm Patrick, and Andrew Tallis. Listen, big up to all of you for that kind of support. Really does mean a lot. And people, big up to all my members as well. Farker Masterclass, yeah. Will Ferrell isn't allowed back now. Yeah, listen, there's a lot. There's a lot that this can go on, and it's going to be tough to break this down. And I'm probably going to miss some things, so you guys in the chat are going to have to, help me along with this. But look, all I want to say is this, and I know it's going to probably upset some people, but we've been a bit nostalgic this week in terms of our heydays, and I had two reminders today of where I want this football club to go back, and here's one. 25 years ago, Lucas Radaby sit-down volley against Partizan Belgrade in the UEFA Cup. That's where this great football club used to be. That's when I first started supporting, just a couple years before this or a year before this, we was one of the best, all right? You fast forward onto this one here. The amount of times back in the day, we used to just shake the flag like this. Actually, that looks kind of mad without a flag in my hand. 25, however many years, not 25, but on this day in 2002, we beat Man United at home. You know what I mean? 1-0, Harry Kewell, great header from an Ian Hart right-footed cross. Look at the team. Look at the team. Look at the bench. Even though there's only 5 subs back in the day, Radaby, Becker. This is the standard, people. Now, a game that will probably not be remembered in 25 years is this one, which we're going to speak about today. Yeah, I know it was 25 years. I know it's crazy, man. The time don't wait for nobody, man. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. 25 years later, we're not going to be speaking about this game. And my Lord, there's so many things we can go through on this. So many things that I'm having trouble beginning. But look, let me just get Hyru super chat in. Biggest game of the season, multiple chances missed. Farker, an absolute ghost tactically. Terrible timing with the subs, a masterclass of boring garbage. Well, Hyru, tell me how you feel, brother. It's all good. But no, I completely hear what you're saying in terms of that. But there's so much more, people. There's so much more. And where do we begin? I mean, look, I was hoping we was going to do this in victory, but, Will Ferrell was in attendance today, as somebody pointed out. Shout out to Will Ferrell. I'm a big Elf fan. That's me. Santa. That is me. Shout out to Will Ferrell. Would have been nice to have seen him there today. But I'm sure he must be wondering, is this investment going to see Premier League football one day? Now, of course, it's way too early to throw in the towel, people. And I'm certainly not throwing in the towel, but things have to improve big time. Big time have to improve. What I will say as well, you know me, I don't talk about refs on here. We're not going to go into detail on this referee today. That's not my job. What I will say is that referee was very overwhelmed today. Had no business being at Ellen Road referee in this magnitude of a game. He was stage fright, rabbit in the headlights, whatever you like. He didn't have it today. Missed the penalty on Solomon. That was a penalty in any shape, way, or form, whatever way you want to put it. That's a penalty. There was a couple of instances as well where we should have had free kicks, but he allowed us to play on it in disadvantaged situations. He just didn't have the handling of the game. He was handing out yellow cards like candy. That's that on the ref. Very, very poor. And you know what? We'll speak about the penalty incident if you want to do so later. Marcus here saying, honestly, this sucks, but it's a long season. It is a long season, but it's like I said in the preview, you win this game today, it's laying down a marker. Now, Burnley, they had their little I wouldn't even say sticky patch, but they had a little bit of an up and down bit when they would at the end of the transfer window. But now they've come to Ellen Road, and where we made this a fortress until the latter part of the season, we've already been breached. And as the commentator rightly said, that's 3 defeats in 5 home games if you counting back to last season, which obviously for us at this level isn't a good stat. That's not good enough. We should have made this ground, this hallowed turf that we have, the church, a place where people can't come. But we've made it so open today, and the way that we played as well. I felt like we was trying to get pregnant because everything was just coming inside. Like there was just no width today. I don't know what was going on with the 2-3-10s and the lack of fullbacks. But what I would say if with Farke is if you want to implement that old Norwich system of like your 2-10s in Cantwell and Buendia, then you do what you did with Jamal Lewis and Max Aarons and let those guys run to the byline. It seems like whenever we get to the corner of the penalty box, everyone stops and then everyone's just trying to cut inside, and Burnley just packed out that area and we couldn't get through. Honestly, Ian saying substitutions were baffling today, but we were great at passing sideways. Yeah, Mr. P in the house, and shout out to you, Mr. P, with a super chat. Honest question, what did we just witness? What will DF's excuses be today? It was like this lot had never played before. As for the subs, what the hell? Yeah, we're all wondering the same thing. We're all wondering the same thing, Mr. P, and that's what we're going to speak about today. Where shall we go? Let's go with the starting lineup, yeah? Let's do that, shall we? Because apart from one, I got this starting lineup pretty spot on. I think the only thing I said was I didn't think Aronson was going to be fit enough to start with him coming back from America midweek and for the 12:30 kickoff. But Aronson was actually one of our better players. Maybe some of you will disagree, but I thought some of his passing, especially in the first half, more so with his through balls and his playmaking skills in the middle, I thought he was pretty good for us overall today. Obviously, we've lost the game, so no one gets full credit in this. But I thought Aronson was pretty good in that role. Solomon, what I will say in regards to this, in Solomon, is that he needs to. Even though I like him cutting inside, and that is his game, the times he did get some joy was when he just carried on down the byline and swung it in with his left foot, like he did against Hull for the Joseph goal. He in his case. Bashir Humphreys, I know Humphreys got sent off in the end, people, but he shouldn't have been that comfortable for me in his his full debut for Burnley. I'm not sure, but at coming to Ellen Road in a big game like this, under big sky cameras and everything else like that, a play like Solomon should have been having him on toast just a little bit more for me in this game. But I'm sure it's going to come for him as the games go on. Mr. Man saying Gruev slows it down at best a sub 80-minute one. William here saying complete garbage. Thank you for the super chat, William. Again, people, tell me how you feel, man. It's cool. Complete garbage. We can't finish, and could we go next week? Well, yeah, we're gonna have to. Carl saying we are so poor at set pieces. We may as well just kick them out and for a goal kick and save Roden and Pascal running up. This is going to come into when we're going to speak about the goal, because I feel the goal was just so preventable. There's so many things before, after Solomon slips, there's just so many things that we could have prevented. But for me, the starting lineup was fine. This is absolutely fine for me in terms of winning a game at home against Burnley. It should have been more than good enough. So I've got no issues with the starting lineup. We go down to the subs. Look at the options. We've got people, in terms of, fullback helping Byram, Schmidt, Ramazani, Tanaka, Rothwell, Gelhart, Perot, Bamford. Oh no, Bamford's not there because even though he was declared fit on Thursday, he's not there. Listen, I'm not going to go into it, people. We don't lose this game because Bamford's not there. All I'm saying is that thank you to all the people that you're on the side of right with me. Okay, you're on the side of right, and thank you for sticking with me and everything else like that. For everyone else, take that Stockholm syndrome somewhere else and be gone with it. I have no interest in hearing about it. Do me a favor, okay? If your favorite is being pass fit by the manager in the midweek, he's been training all week since Tuesday, can't even come on for a little cameo today. You know what? You keep on defending him like he's your kid. All right, that's up to you. One of those. Yeah, Andy here saying the longer the game went on, you saw the writing on the wall. I tend to agree with that as well. And just going back onto Burnley, in terms of their lineup today, you talk about goalkeepers. Spinksy saying here, your boy Joseph messed up, bro. That's fair. But what I will say in terms of Joseph, in that chance, and listen, if I was doing a watch along, that'd have been hilarious because I was celebrating when he was running through. That would have been some comedy on a watch along. But he missed that chance, and it was a brilliant chance, and he should be scoring that 100%. What I will say for any of you bound for people to come in, he wouldn't have even ran onto that. So don't even bother comparing the two. But what I will say in that is that it's something I've mentioned before on my channel, and I mentioned it just yesterday with Connor. The supply line to Joseph has to be better. Everything was just so congested today. He had one chance in the second half where Trafford pulled out a save to save it, but he should have had more chances to atone for that earlier miss. He should have had more, but the ball just wasn't finding him. We were so laborious with our build up today, and it's been a theme when we don't win games. The build up is slow, it's predictable, and you saw a couple times when Burnley just split us through. It was just quick, one touch through the middle. Rodon's going, struggling to get back to get back to an attacker. Our defense is just all over the place for their goal. No one, Koleosho's got the run of Ellen Road, nearly a half. It reminded me a little bit of Basham's goal back in, back 4 or 5 years ago. Remember Basham 1-0? It was so similar. And that's the difference. When other teams break against us, there's danger. But when we break against other teams, they always seem to get back in their positions because we take too many touches of the ball. And that is it. Yeah, it is. It's slow and boring. And that was what we said last season as well. FEY, you've been with me a while. Even with our winning run last year, I was saying, man, that game was a bit dry today, though, wasn't it? But you don't care because, as I've said to you before, winning solves everything. It solves everything. It doesn't matter whether you got injuries, whatever it is. When you win the game, it papers over it. But yeah, listen. Matt C saying thought Anthony and Koleosho were way better than our wingers today. What I will say for Burnley, perfect away performance. Absolutely no issues with their win. That's how you get it done. You get your goal, you kill time. They weren't even trying to see the ball in the second half, but we didn't do enough. And you also think about the 8 minutes added on. When you see that in other games, people, I'm sure some of you watch other football. I'm sure you do. When you see 8 minutes added on in other games, it's like this pressure, pressure, pressure. It, they may as well not bother adding on 8 minutes. We didn't do nothing. We didn't do one thing. It's not good enough, people. That isn't good enough. I guess the only way, if you want a positive spin, we won all these games against our promotion rivals last year and we didn't go up. Maybe we lose these and go up. I don't know. There you go. There's some positive spin for the head in the clouds merchant. Jane Anthony was a thorn in Lee's side. Yeah. Well, he had a point to prove, Andy. He had a point to prove to people like me that was saying that he was never good enough to come to Leeds anyway. And he also had a point to prove against Daniel Farker, in terms of, yeah, this is, you should have played me more. And if it wasn't for a save on the goal line, he would have scored today, because I don't think Melier was going to get down to that to save it. So thankfully, I can't remember who was on the line, people, but that was a good clearance off the line. God, there is so many. There is so many things, people. Yeah, that's what I mean, Ian. Thank you for, and Chris as well. Chris saying we got 8 minutes and added time trying to pass out from the back with 3 people at the back. Ian saying 8 minutes added on when we pass sideways with no penetration. Exactly. It is pointless. And you do wonder with these kind of things, because when you have it's got to be an instruction from the manager. It has to be. It can't be that the players are just so tentative and everyone is just trying to crush inside. I mean, at one point, people, I mean, at many points, I should say, we had Solomon, Aronson, and Nonto literally like this. Like this. There was no width. Firpo wasn't there. Bogle wasn't on the right as an outlet. It was like we gave their fullbacks today an absolute. I mean, Lucas Perez had an easy day today. And Bashir Humphreys, I know we got red carded, so people will look at that and say, did he really? But yeah, he did. He had an easy game for who he was up against today. We did not do enough. Ampadu, not great today. You know what? You know what it was with Ampadu in the first half, especially with that tackle on Hannibal. And listen, by the way, I know you guys won't appreciate it, but I appreciate that kind of S-housing from Hannibal today. Young kid coming into this kind of cauldron, And as he's getting subbed off and he's being sang at, you just the whole Man United songs. He's just like, yeah, come on, bring it on, bring it on. Character. That's he's got ability and he's got character. I salute that. But Ampadu today, I thought he almost got himself into trouble, injury trouble, with that tackle on Hannibal after the failed penalty decision. That was poor, man. You got to look after yourself. It reminded me straight away. I don't know about anybody else. I had flashbacks of Stuart Dallas against Jack Grealish, where it was an unnecessary challenge. Didn't need to go into it. I know he's trying to set the tone at that point. We just got denied a clear-cut penalty. And I think he was just trying to make a point, get a crunching tackle in there. I get it, but it was almost reckless, man. He almost took himself out. Got to be a bit smarter than that, Amps. And in that, and it showed as well. He got a yellow card and he got subbed. And we know Ampadu doesn't get subbed. So hopefully his ankle injury, when all the adrenaline and everything else runs off, he's okay and good to go, because we need him. He's important in that team. And he's good to go next week against who we got next week. I did look at it, but it is what it is. Yeah, James here. Leeds got bullied around today. No fight. That was the other thing as well, man. I mean, even towards the end with Joseph, even though he went down, I think a little bit easily, you've got what's his name? Esteve, whatever his name is, like shouting at him. Where was our players backing him? It doesn't matter if he's gone down easily and you've seen that he's gone down easily. You back your young king. Like, where's the backup? And you never know, that might galvanize you for the last few minutes of added time to go and get that equalizer and shove it in their face. But they just let him on the floor and let this man shout at him while he was down. There was just no fight there, people. No fight. Yeah, Cardiff. Thank you, Tasha. Thank you. Yeah, 100% bullied all game. In terms of this, let's go. Let me just say this. Good. Let me just get into some positives, because we've lost, so there's not much to say good about it. What I will say is that the tributes for Sol Bamba, really nice today, and also for Bob. I felt those were really nice touches. I'm glad everyone got involved in that. Even that docile referee did as well. And shout out for that, because that's what you like to see in terms of tributes at football. That's what it's about. But it's also about winning as well, people. And we have not done that today. Who else? Let's get into some performances. Shall we talk about their goal? Let's talk about their goal. Rootsy here. Trafford was the difference in the game. Meslier unable to make a save again. Yeah, and listen, people will say in regards to Meslier that you're harsh on him and everything else like that. But what I will say is that when he was running through, when Koleosho was running through, I was saying, Meslier, save this man, and I'm going to give you all the credit in the post-match, all of it, because we've made a mistake. We need our goalkeeper to make that save. And before that, he saved a couple of ones that went straight at him, and that was fine. But I knew, people. I text Connor. He hasn't texted me back. I know what he's doing, but I text Connor and I said, I know he's not gonna save this, and it just went in. But there was a lot of things before, after Solomon slipped, and it goes back to the whole two defensive midfielders for me. If you're going to have the two defensive midfielders, they've got to be there covering. And Gruev's corners don't bang like that. He's not James Ward-Prowse or, old school Janino or Beckham or nothing like that with his deliveries. He should be there ready for the counter, what Burnley possess. And the fact that he was taking the corner and we left threadbare, and I'm not just putting this on Gruev, by the way, I'm talking about both defensive midfielders. If you're going to play two defensive midfielders, that's what they're there for, protection. And it was wide open, people. Absolutely wide open. People talking about Bogle on the slip. Yep, there is that, but there was also, Gruev, it was shades of Southampton last season as well, when he was running back, and then at a certain point he just stopped. I don't know why he does that, but it was just poor all around. So you're hoping your goalkeeper can bail you out there, but if you know what you're going to get from your goalkeeper, you know that it's just not possible. You're hoping that the striker misses. He didn't miss like Joseph did earlier. Burnley 1-0. What are we going to do there? You know what I mean? What are we going to do there? Stephen LC saying it felt like the response to the slip from Solomon took forever to materialize. Yeah, we shouldn't. And that's another thing, how early it was in the game. We shouldn't be getting caught on the counter like that at that point in the game. It was just poor all around us. And that's why I'm saying it's not just on Meslier, but you are hoping your keeper can make a save like Trafford did. And Trafford wasn't tested nearly enough. but the times that he did need to come into action, he actually made a save, and that's what you're looking for from your goalkeeper, just to keep you in the game. Because Burnley, for long stretches of the second half, in particular, didn't have a hold of the ball. Like the first half where they were breaking on us and getting into positions. Second half, they were just sitting back saying, "What have you got?" And the answer was nothing. It was absolutely nothing. People going in on Farker. I mean, let's see. Let's see what we're saying, man. John Noel here saying Nonto should have scored as well. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I think it was Aronson that put that ball through to him. Actually, beautiful ball from Brendan, and yeah, Nonto should have scored. So we did have a couple of opportunities in that, and I know people are going to harp on about the penalty, and we can speak about that now. But you can. I always say this, people. The referee will control that, but you control everything after. So you didn't get the penalty. What are you going to do afterwards? You control that. That's up to you. The referee today, we know, wasn't up to it. That was a penalty in that case. But what are you going to do after? And the answer is we didn't have a lot. See what happens when you got a good keeper. Yeah, Scott saying here Schmidt will take Bogle's spot in time. Yeah, I mean, listen, Jaden Bogle today, I've given him credit for the last couple of games because I feel like he has been more defensively sound. I think he's been taking instruction when we've lost the ball to get back. Yeah, it was kind of like first two games Jaden Bogle today. But look, I'm not giving up on him yet. I'm not giving up on him just yet. I think it's still way too early for that. But it obviously does need to improve in certain, and definitely in terms of one-on-one battles. Koleosho had Furpo on toast today. Yeah, and I'm surprised because I've seen Koleosho play from the left usually, but he was certainly on the right today with Jaden on the left. Jaden Anthony had Furpo. It was an interesting battle as well between Jaden Anthony and Willie Nanto. I don't know whether there's like old starter substitute beef there, but yeah, they had the better of us, people, and it's as simple as that. Burnley deserved to win the game today. Laporte here with a super chat saying shades of player finery, opposition manager being able to actually manage in-game tactics. Yep. Farker clueless. Yeah. We've got to speak about it, people. And because when it goes right, I do give Farker the credit. I gave him the credit in the last game against Hull because there was no need to make subs when just for no reason, and he actually managed that well. But you could see today at around, even in like before 60 minutes, Burnley were on the back foot. They didn't want the ball. They were just letting us come at them. And he didn't do nothing. It was calling for either Gruev or Ampadu to come off in order for Rothwell to come on and just be a more advanced central midfielder, because we could already see from the pattern of the game. And that's why I look for in a manager, you may have a game plan, but you've got to look at the game and say, what's happening in this game? You know what I mean? What am I going to have to deviate from my plan? And I don't think he did that today, because if you were looking at it, it didn't matter if Gruev and Ampadu were together. Every time Burnley got the ball, they just one ball, they split us open every time. So the two defensive midfielders were making no difference today. So why not take one of them off and get a more creative player on there? One thing as well, what I will say as well is and I guess this goes on to Farker as well, is avoid that Gruev taking corners anymore. We had Aronson on. All the corners were rubbish today, and it's quite interesting because I was watching the whole Sheffield United game yesterday, and I was absolutely lambasting Hull for their deliveries yesterday. They were absolutely. I don't know if anyone else watched Hull versus Sheffield United yesterday. The whole corners were even worse than ours. And if you think I'm joking, go back and watch it. Okay, they were terrible. You would have thought there was like little leprechauns on the pitch or something. They weren't reaching like anyone's knees. But we didn't do any better today. And that's why I think if you're going to employ Gruev and Ampadu, especially in a game against Burnley, keep Gruev back in central midfield, because he's not going to do anything for you trying to run back. It is, Ryan, it's possible. I'm telling you, I was watching the game yesterday and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, because I was watching that game because I still can consider us, Burnley, Sheffield United, to be the front runners in this division. Sheffield United, cash money, just a simple 2-0 win, and they didn't break a sweat. It was easy for them yesterday, and that's what it's going to be in a majority of the games. Obviously, we're not going to be playing a Burnley every week, people. It's not going to be the case. But Sheffield United just took them on, 3 points, off you go, and Hull had nothing for him. Just a poor team. But I was watching that thinking, that's the marker now. We've got to win tomorrow afternoon just to keep on this good run of form that we had, and we've messed it up today. Yeah, they are cooked. Their team yesterday, it was bad. It was real bad. Let's have a look. John here saying, let me see. Solomon and Aronson are decent players aside from the mistake today. Today's result more down to the manager. I mean, look, I'm not going to just absolve the players today. I think the players could have done more. And this is where it comes back to football these days. And I don't want to be the, Barclays man again, but if you can see or feel as a player on the pitch that things aren't working, or you can see, wait a minute, Willie Nonto, Solomon, Aronson, why are we all just holding hands together in the middle? Spread it out a little. Even if your manager's unhappy with that, if it helps you get a goal, then you deal with the consequences after. But it has to be instruction while we were playing so narrow and congested today. Has to be. But the players can also do something else as well. Joseph, if he goes through, he scores that, it's a whole different conversation. Nanto finished that one. Strauch had a header at the end of the first half, which bit tough, but it's Pascal. You think maybe get it on target. There were a few opportunities there, but just not enough, people. Just not enough. Yeah, absolutely, Ryan. And the thing is, we even if those three players was to stay there, let's just say they stay there, Furpo, Bogle, you be the outlets, go to the byline, mix it up a little, but everything was the same. It was just all cut inside, 3, 4 passes. I think we need to end the Gruev thing of him being the advanced midfielder in other games. I'm not saying Gruev out or nothing like that, but I've always maintained my stance that Gruev is the backup to Ampadu. So in future games, I want to see a Rothwell, I want to see a Tanaka who can just move the ball a little bit quicker in those instances to be on the pitch at those points. Because there was times where Gruev had the ball near the final third and he didn't know what to do with it, people. And I do like Gruev. Let me just say that I do like Gruev's. Gavin saying 160 corners and 0 goals. I mean, it could be that. Is that a real stat, Gavin? Because I know sometimes you joke around a little in terms of that, in terms of the numbers. But yeah, we're struggling from that. We're struggling with that. James here saying we have option at midfield, but Farker doesn't make changes. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Can't disagree, James. Can't disagree. Lee's lead saying didn't see one crossfield ball. Yeah, it's not. That's not something we do under Farker. And because I remember clearly, people, we do these match reactions after every game. And I remember when Gruev first broke in and he was hitting a few diags, and that's how rare it was that I can remember. And then all of a sudden they just stopped. You know what I mean? They just stopped. He just started to become like a basic, kind of player where he wins the ball. That's what his strengths are: intercepting, winning tackles, and then just playing the ball safe. Yeah, we don't do diagonals. We build from the back very slowly, methodically at times. But you saw some of our best stuff, people. Let me give him credit, was when we did the one touch football. Who was that goal against? Was it against Portsmouth at the start of the season? One touch football, no one can touch us, but we just take so many touches, people. It's ridiculous. Um, AFB saying would love to know Farker's game plan for the last 10 minutes. No idea, man. No idea. And that's it. It's just puzzling, isn't it? It's just puzzling in regards to just what we were supposed to do today. Honestly, I don't know, people. I can't answer. I'm hoping you guys will help me out. Mike saying here, Rothwell pinged a nice one out to Willie. Should have brought him on for Gruev and Howe, sorry, on for Ampadu. Yeah, don't disagree. And the thing was, it was clear that we needed to make changes early on in the second half. And I think that those changes made earlier could have maybe give us a little bit more impetus early on in the game. But as you can see, when the crowd started to get frustrated, the players looked like they didn't know what to do. The clock's ticking on. Burnley are killing time. We lost. We didn't have any momentum. We didn't have any, and the subs for me came just a little bit too late in for me. And it's not a new story, I'm afraid. Um, so let me just see what else is there here. Yeah, we've done that. We've done that one. What else was there today? Okay, yeah. Oh, listen, I no, let me just say this. I do believe in Joe Ruffwell, Joe Roden today, but Fleming did have him today. And that was disappointing to see. I expect Joe Roden. I'm sure he will be back to last season's form at some point, but Fleming did have him today in terms of just battling uh, the duels he lost today against Fleming in terms of giving away free kicks. wasn't a good outing for Roden. Then he gets knocked on the head. And also, I guess we're going to have to look out for him, make sure that he's not out with concussion. But look, is there anything good from today? I'm asking you guys because I want to try and remember some things that we actually did do well in the game. If anyone knows, Mr. P obviously saying no, different day, same pile of nonsense, tremendous. And Leeds, I mean, this hasn't changed though. This hasn't changed. It's saying teams know how to beat us with a low block. We've got to be better, but that's coaching. And this is what I've said. If we've got the players, and I'm sorry, today's performance doesn't tell me that we don't have the players to get top two in this league. It doesn't, and we'll see that when we come up against weaker opposition. But we struggle, and this is something that Daniel Farker has to work out. This is where he has to say when teams start to get in those deep blocks. I mean, at one point in the first half, Burnley had like about 7 players at the edge of the penalty area. It was insane. Joseph was there trying to thread one through. It was mad. But in that case, then you have to then say, be vocal. Because with Daniel Farker, whenever you see him, he's always quiet, man. He's just quiet. And I'm not saying be Mikel Arteta where he looks like you're directing planes every two minutes. But tell someone, Furpo, go wide, keep wide. Solomon, beat him down put it on your left foot. Bogle, overlap. I just don't feel like we see enough of that from him. But that's just me, man. That's just me. Yeah, that's what it feels like, man. It's like that insanity, isn't it? It's doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And it's not going to work. Even against teams like Burnley, against the Plymouth, sorry, Plymouth, I did it to you again. Against Bristol City, Oxford, it may work. But we was up against a good outfit today. That's a good team that you're looking at the screen there. That's why I put them in one of the three to go up automatically. But we've got to make sure that we put this one behind us and get better, because otherwise we're going to struggle. We're gonna struggle in terms of getting top two. Hyru saying he just stands. Oh man, Hyru saying he just stands there. Let me just leave it there. Meanwhile, Scott Parker is coaching his guys. I'm tired of it. Yes, Scott Parker multiple times, and Scott Parker as well. If people think that we're being harsh about the subs, he was making subs before we did, and his team were ahead. But he could see they were under the cosh. They were under a bit of pressure. He needed to relieve it. He needed to make changes, and he did so, and it worked. That's the thing, people. What and because I'm like I say, I'm always Leeds United first. I don't care who's here. I want you to do the best job possible. But if you're not doing the best job, you've got to look at it yourself. And I don't think Farker's done that. But look, Jive saying Melier on his knees watching the ball go past him. Yeah, I mean, look, it's nothing that I don't expect. So I don't get mad at Melier. I just say protect him more. If you're going to keep Melier as your number one, you can't have an open wide defense like we had today multiple times as well. You can't have it. He's not that goalkeeper. So you've got to protect him like we did during our great run last season where he hardly saw any shots. Now, I know that's unlikely to happen again. Lightning can't strike twice. But if you can minimize it as much as possible, do so. He needs help. One-on-ones, he used to be really good. He's not good anymore. So protect him as much as possible. Surround him with as much defensive help as possible, because he cannot be left open like that for one-on-ones. I wish when Koleosho was going through, I could say Melier's got this one. I just knew it was going to go in, people. I knew the net. If it was on target, I knew the net was going to rustle, and it did. Keith saying, oh, we know Farker isn't taking any responsibility. He will say we're unlucky. We should have scored twice and should have had a penalty. Okay, I mean, look, let me just have a look and see if Farker's come out with any, because obviously I'm not watching the Sky feed right now. Actually, it was on Plus, wasn't it? So it would never be on there. While I'm doing that, though, people, if you haven't already, please hit a like on the video. It really does help out the channel. Algorithm, help me out. And subscribe as well if you haven't already. Yeah, I'm not seeing any Farker quotes here, but I guess we can come back with another stream and speak about that. I mean, Scott Parker's already said a massive 3 points for us, especially where we are in our development, and that's just fresh from Popey here. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. There we are. So Scott Parker knows the magnitude of it. I mean, both managers were doing the right thing before the game, though, in terms of trying to talk down the importance of the game. They both knew how big this game was, especially if you get the win. If you get the draw, in the end, you take the point and you go on to those other games that you would expect to win. But you get the 3 points. You're putting your nuts on the table and you're saying it's us. And Scott Parker's got those bragging rights today. Yeah, Paul saying here, so dull to watch. Their keeper had nothing to do in the second half. So Paul, don't disagree. Jack saying here, the more players we push forward, the worse we look. Yeah, yeah. It's because there's no cohesive patterns, and that's why we need to be more one touch. Because when we take multiple touches, we just allow teams to get back in their defensive shape, and then we can't break them down with the current tactics that we employ. So yeah, I don't disagree with that, Jack. Just seeing if Farkas said anything. I doubt we're going to do it on the stream, people. We're going to probably have to come back maybe tomorrow or Monday. I don't know. Maybe I'll give you guys a little rest for Sunday. Yeah, not seeing anything at this point in time, people. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, 90 points. Yeah, last night. Yes, we got 90 points last week. Yeah, last season. Yes. Yeah. Mike saying, yeah, Keith said, I forgot what it's like to praise our keeper. Well, last time I did it in full was against Sunderland last year, where if it wasn't for Melier in that game, we would have lost. Like he was that good for us because we was atrocious in that game. I think we drew the game 0-0. But yeah, that's the last time he had a real standout performance. But yeah, Mike saying we missed Dan James today, but that's recruitment, no, Mike. Whereas we know we've got inverted wingers that like to come inside and cut inside and shoot. Dan James is that one that will be heads down and put crosses in from the right, and that's why we missed that 10 or getting another right winger to complement it. But there are solutions out there that we've got in the team that could have helped it in a way, but we just didn't do enough, I'm afraid. James saying the team looked poor coming off the international break. Farker didn't have them ready to play. Well, I mean, look, I haven't seen any of his quotes, but he's said it in a few of the pre-matches. He said it in the pre-match press conference. He also said it before the game today. He kept on harping on about that 13 players away for international duty. I have a feeling it's going to come up in the post-match. Just get the feeling with that in terms of we had the players away, we weren't able to work on shape. Everyone was only in full training yesterday. I feel like that may come up, but if you fail to prepare to fail and all that stuff. So yeah. Sai in the house. Shout out to you, Sai, man. How many more games? Oh, how many more games do we give Farker KG? Wow. Okay, we're gonna have to do this one on another stream, people. We're gonna have to do this one on another stream. But let me just because let me just get the table up for a bit. I mean, it's 5 games, people, but Sai, I don't know. But what I will say is, Sai, and I've said this before the season and I'll maintain it. If we lose touch or don't look like we are going to be in the top 2 conversation, he can't stay because the tools are here. Whether it's an incomplete tool set, everyone's got one. Sheffield United don't have depth in their team. So when they eventually do get injuries and suspensions, their starting 11 is going to look sticky. Burnley, they've had turmoil in the transfer window. Everyone's got excuses, including us and including everyone else. But if he's not utilizing the tools to their best, to his advantage, and we're losing touch, he can't continue. But on the other hand, what I will say is that this is our first loss. This is our first loss of the league season, but we could have done more. Obviously, like the Portsmouth game, the West Brom game, where we went there just to not lose. We've got to do better. That's what it takes, people. And this is where the message gets lost with people that are more Farker in than support Leeds United. That's where you get top 2. It's getting results that other teams can't get because you're just that good. And we haven't done that yet. Bleep bleep internationals again. Jim saying, has Farker ever taken some of the blame in a post-match interview? Seems that his approach is always to deflect criticism as far away from him as possible. Oh, no, he did against Middlesbrough, Jim. He definitely did against Middlesbrough. I remember him saying that when we lost that cup game to Middlesbrough. He did take accountability for that one in terms of the team he put out and everything else like that. But overall, when it comes to the bigger picture, no, not really. But yes, he has done that. So I'm fair, man. If I wasn't fair, I'd say nah, he never does. But he has done in that instance. Mike saying, I know it's early, but sitting behind Oxford in the table should not be a thing. Yeah, it's mad. It's mad, yeah, in terms of that. But look, the reason why I put it up though is because obviously Sunderland's game is going on as we talk today, but Burnley, Sheffield United are doing what they're supposed to. We've got to get back on the wins. That's what it takes to finish top two, people. We can't keep going into games thinking, oh, let's just get a draw here and not lose. We've got to get wins, people. Gavin saying Borough game did not count or matter. Listen, it's a competitive game, Gavin. I'm just being fair. You know what I mean? So you can't, no one can accuse me for not being fair. All right, man. So let me just see. Let me just see if Farker has come out and said anything. Maybe we can get it on the stream, but we will have to come back again. I'm sure of it on another day. Yeah, we're gonna have to come back another day, people. Look, that is it in terms of the review. Don't let it ruin the rest of your weekend. He says as he's thinking in his head, oh man, how have we lost that game? I'm talking to myself as well as you guys. I'm trying to help you out as well as myself. Hit a like before you go. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications on the channel as well, so you know when I'm going live, and we can have another discussion when we, delve into Farker's quotes. And listen, people, we've lost the game 1-0 today. Poor performance, but we're gonna have to go again. People, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace out.